I'm ready if you're ready.
Okay, we're going to call the work session for May 1st to order. If you will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, like the new stand.
Huh? Yeah, did everybody notice we finally got the new podium in?
Okay, Mr. Thomas, take us out.
First item under Personnel and Management is the Borough Social Media Policy Amendment. Back in 2020, Council adopted a social media policy identifying those social media sites that the Borough Council officially approved of for Borough staff to manage and maintain to communicate with the public. One of those social media sites or mediums is the Borough Facebook page. The police department wants to or has created its own Facebook page for the express purpose of putting out public safety information. So, you know, whereas we're putting out information regarding Summerfest and the Oktoberfest events and things, the police department wanted a separate Facebook page to put out specific information related to public safety or emergency situations. So, for example, you know, there's been a rash of burglaries. I'm not saying there has, by the way, I'm just saying as an example. There's been a rash of burglaries in the Rustic Ridge housing plan or something. Please be aware. And the reason that they felt that that needed to be a separate page as opposed to posting it on our borough Facebook page is on our borough Facebook page you can comment. And on these types of things, you really shouldn't have, we really don't want people going back and forth commenting on those types of issues. And because we had already created the borough Facebook page, when you initially set it up, we cannot go back and unallow comments. So the only way to accomplish this was for the police department to have their own Facebook page for this express purpose. So it's just to, so when the police department has the drug buyback program and when they participated in Special Olympics over the weekend, that stuff should still be on our borough main Facebook page because that's more just public information. But when the police department and Detective Joe Little, who is the public information officer for the police department, when he is posting information like that to the public, it needs to be in a format that doesn't allow for people to, make one-off, snarky comments and everything.
Could not agree more.
So in order to do that, because we've adopted a policy that says these are the official social media sites that the Borough Council expressly permits, we need to amend the policy. So all we're asking is I will amend the policy. It's just going to add a sentence saying that, this is an additional approved site.
Any discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Item number 2 is not an agenda item, but I did bring it up just because it's coming back up again. I don't know if I got the timing right, but I believe Mr. Dern and Mr. Hadley met with the school district intergovernmental committee. I want to say it was about a year ago.
Yeah.
And the district had talked about putting together a junior council program. They did put together a junior school board member program, and then they suggested that we participate with them in this program. We said, or I mentioned to council, I said, well, the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs already has a program. We're members of PSABs. They've already got a program. Why reinvent the wheel? And in addition to sort of like not having to sort of come up with the protocols and the job descriptions and all the other parameters for the program, the nice thing about the PSAB program is if we do get kids that want to participate in the junior council program here, we can nominate them to be recognized in Harrisburg by the assembly. So it's kind of a neat little perk if we do, like they can go up there to Harrisburg with their family and be recognized by the governor and the Senate, a resolution in the Senate and in the assembly. If we don't do it through PSABs, we lose that opportunity to do that for the kids. So I just think that alone is probably just worth, and again, it's already designed, it's already been in place for 20 years. We adopted the resolution last year at this time, ironically at the May meeting last year to participate, so we don't need to do anything right now. I believe it was Nikki put together a flyer for me to send over to the school board, and the school board's disseminating all the information to the students now, and then we've asked them to have all their applications, but any students that's interested to have applications back to us before June 1st. And then you guys can make a decision about whether or not you want to. If you get more than one applicant, you can do some interviews. You know,
Okay.
you can have more than one
Any
council
discussion?
person.
Discussion? Okay, agenda item.
No, that doesn't need to be agenda.
Sorry, not agenda.
Item number 3 is the July work session. So the July, you guys know that every year we present to you those dates that need to be moved because the council meeting falls on a holiday. The 4th of July does not fall on a holiday. The 4th of July falls on a Monday, on Tuesday, excuse me. And however, if people are going to be taking long weekends,
So you want to
know-
change it to the 5th?
no, I'm just asking you, do you guys want to change it to the 5th?
Yes, we can, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So the motion next month would be to change the work session for July from the 3rd to the 5th.
Done.
Okay.
Agenda item.
The next item is also not an agenda item, but I do want council's permission to invite Tim Joyce next week, and I think we've given him a heads up, right, Dave?
Yes.
So I don't know how many of you guys know Tim, but Tim's worked for Senator Brewster since Senator Brewster got elected. He worked for Sean Logan prior to that, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but he worked for Sean's predecessor before that. He lived here in Plum for 30 years. He volunteered. He was on our library board, his zoning hearing board, planning commission. He's done pretty much everything. He and his wife just decided to downsize, and they bought a little house in Monroeville, and so he had to resign from the planning commission, zoning hearing board. Zoning hearing board. So staff wanted to recognize him because in addition to him serving on these boards, he's a huge help to us getting these grants and getting everything processed through Senator Brewster's office. So,
He's a great guy.
so we'd like to invite him next week, council. We had a glass trophy made. I don't know what you call them. It's nice. I think they did a very nice job.
He'd probably prefer a bottle of Jameson.
Yeah, he would. He may have said that. We're just kind of hoping you guys can present it to him and the mayor will do a proclamation.
Absolutely, done deal.
Okay. That would be sort of under a recognition, not as an agenda item. Number 5, William Walters was hired you guys hired him back in October. He has completed his probationary period under the contract, and you have a recommendation letter from his supervisor in your agenda packets recommending that he be granted full-time status. So we're just asking the council make a motion to award him full-time status next week.
Discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Item number 6 is the rates for the new part-time recreation staff. We have 3 different, so we have with all the new facilities, and we have the staffing for those facilities. All those positions are part-time, and you have the rates included in your agenda packets there. I'm gonna pull it up here. So guest services facilitator, we had a hard time coming up with names for these things. So if you'd like to change them, we're happy to. So this is the, downstairs in the gymnasium, when we start renting the gym to groups when they're coming in, we have a staff, we have somebody sitting there at all times checking people in, making sure that the people whose time slot is done are out and the new group is in. There's things to do down there like raise and lower the basketball hoops because we're not giving the mechanical keys to the groups themselves to mess around with the mechanical equipment. And then just to have somebody there if there are problems, they can call the police, they can call a supervisor. So it's just really, it's just somebody to sit at the desk and just check people in and be there in case somebody's needed. So we didn't feel like that was a huge, and I know there was just a lot of backlash on Facebook on something else, and we can talk about that if you'd like. I'm happy to explain it, but this is for like high school kids to sit at the desk and do their homework while they're checking people in. It's not a
It's not a union position. It's not a job that's supposed to buy you, pay your mortgage or put food on the table. It's spending money for a kid.
And it'll also be the, once the splash pad is open, ice rink, there is a concession stand in there. So it'll be the people that are, selling sodas and Swedish fish and pretzels and things.
And one other comment I would like, we're talking, minimum wage is what, $7?
$7.40?
If it kept up with inflation, it should be about 23, 25.
Minimum wage right now is under $8 an hour, and we're,
It's a travesty,
we're,
it shouldn't be that.
it's enough, that's a separate argument, a separate discussion. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm saying we're paying these high school kids $11 an hour. which is pretty damn good money, if you ask me.
So the second position is the rental event coordinator. So what we do is we have people that are, when somebody rents the banquet facility, when they show up, we have to have somebody here to open the doors, to let them in. If they need help with the AV equipment, or whatever, to kind of get them all set up. If they need to know where the coffee pots are, just somebody that can meet them here when they start their rental, and then somebody that can come back at the end of the night, at the end of their rental, to lock everything up, to make sure nothing was broken, damaged, to make sure everybody's out on time. In between, that person will be on call. We have a cell phone, a borough-provided cell phone that the rental event coordinators carry with them when they're on call, so that if somebody's renting any one of the facilities and they need assistance, they have one number to call. And then that person is trained on how to do everything, how to operate everything, how to open and close the garage doors, the bifold doors out there, all of those things. So the rate that we were proposing, it ends up being about $75 a night. And it's for that person to meet with them at the very beginning of their rental, and meet with them at the very end of the rental, and be on call for any problems. So if, hey, we're out of garbage bags, what do we do? Whatever that issue is, they'll carry that phone with them. Excuse me. And then finally, the job description that you all approved. So it was either the last month or the month before, I can't remember. So these are the people that will be helping with the actual events. They, help Mona coordinate all the events. It's an as-needed part-time thing. It's not a regularly scheduled event. And I will tell you, actually, we're kind of, for those of you who don't know, that one of those people is Maria Gingery. We hired her back.
Retirement was great. Well, that's awesome.
So she's very excited to be able to do this. In fact, we had a rental over the weekend, and she was the coordinator for it. So
Good.
That's awesome.
So those are the rates that we would ask you guys, unless you guys want to increase them, and with respect to the summer help positions that we promoted on Facebook. So those are high school kids that we bring on. So I don't want to call it an internship, but it's an opportunity for someone in high school that's really not sure what they want to do. We require you to be 18, a minimum of age of 18. So it's usually always either a graduating high school senior or a freshman in college. And to us, it's an opportunity to expose them to a real-world job. We expect them to work 40 hours a week for at least 6 to 8 weeks throughout the summer. We require them to be here at 7 o'clock in the morning to get them used to sort of getting up and getting through a routine. And then we try and teach them some skills. For the most part, they're painting garbage cans and picnic tables in the park. But we do, and maybe they're weed whacking. But we do try and get them involved in different skills, like expose them to, heavy equipment operation, truck driving. So, and we've had some success with that, where we've had kids that have come and worked with us for a summer, and one in particular who, after working with us for a summer, decided that he was going to go enroll in heavy equipment operator school up in Mechanicsburg. So to us, it's not just a way, because they're not doing a whole lot of, they're not installing storm sewers and doing any heavy digging or anything. What they are doing is kind of busy work, but for us, it's an opportunity to give some people an opportunity to make a few bucks in the summer, to have some spending money, and to get that exposure to that first job. We typically, sometimes we'll get we actually got Charlie's brother one year. We got Sam, who now works for us. Sam worked for us for a summer and did it. We typically get the kids out of high school that, either they know what they're going to do in college and they're just looking for a summer job, or they're not really sure what they want to do, and this is kind of a first experience for them. And we've helped people move on to other things. So ironically, we've been paying them $10 an hour for like the last 5 or 8 years, and we all felt, well, we need to bump that up a little bit this year, and we made it 11, and then when we put it out on Facebook, we got kind of bashed for it. But I will tell you, that's this $11 an hour is what Allegheny County pays for their summer help as well.
Just gonna ask that.
Yep. Any more discussion? Okay.
So on these,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think that on these rates here, the part-time employees, you have a 9, a 12, and 11.
Yes.
So I understand 12, that's a little more higher roll. Seems like the other two are pretty much the same.
Okay,
I'd say they should be the same, I'd make them a 10, with me,
okay.
but,
I agree. Let's at least make the $9 one then.
yeah.
That's fine.
I'm in the minority, I think it should be more, but I'll accept that.
So, but just so I'm clear, what are we accepting? We're making them both 10?
I'd make them both 10, I don't really see,
Okay.
I don't really see the difference between, I don't know, I mean,
Well,
is there a
I
reason
think
it's
once-
$2 more? I don't know.
One of the rental coordinators.
Well, that one I understand.
Their event planning assistant is helping plan specifically, so I think there's a little bit more to it, so that's why they're, you know,
Make them both 10 then.
is there?
I don't know.
Make them both 11.
Make them both 11.
Okay,
Okay, good.
all right.
Because that's what the county pays.
Yeah.
My daughter-
That 5 minutes, that 5 minutes cost the hourly billing here with the solicitor.
You guys think I talk a lot. Well, we're only paying him $11 now.
Yeah, that's right, you're down to 11.
Item number 7, so that, I'm sorry, will that be an executive, will that be a?
Yes, that's an agenda.
Agenda
Yes.
item. Item number 7 is an executive session item. Item number 8 is the Provident and Colonial Life Insurance Policy Comparison. So I don't know if anybody had a chance to take a look at it. I would encourage you to take a look at it at your leisure. It's in the agenda packets. So there is some overlap in these policies, but they are clearly not identical. But they're the same topically, if you will, right? I mean, they're both Aflac type products. You know, they're beyond workers' comp. They're beyond regular health insurance. The different policies cover different people. So the Colonial policy only covers active firefighters. The Provident policy covers anybody that is a volunteer at the fire department, whether that's a fish fry or a treasurer or a firefighter. And it's probably also worth noting too. We talked about this last month, if you remember, and we talked about, well, you know, we're paying a lot, you know, $80,000 a year between these two policies. Maybe we ought to look at, you know, getting one policy that covers everything, and maybe there's some financial savings there. And I think we can we take this spreadsheet and go out and see if we can get. I'm sure we can get an agent to provide all that, and you can still keep those same parameters of coverage. The one caveat I will warn you guys about is there are some differences between the policies. So, for example, on the Colonial policy, there's a benefit that provides a college tuition benefit to all those that are insured on the policy. Provident can't provide that benefit because Colonial is the only one in the state that can provide that benefit. They're the only licensed agency that can provide that benefit. It's exclusive. And there are other benefits on the other side too with Provident. So the renewal, and remember that last month, this whole thing started because the PFCA came to us and said, hey, listen, right now, we're asking for council to, the renewal's up in June, we're asking for council to increase the limits of some of these policies. So that's what you have in that spreadsheet, is you see the what's existing versus what is proposed, and then you have the Colonial somewhat comparison side by side. They're not oranges and oranges, so it's kind of hard to do that exact comparison. But what council needs to decide is, do you want to pursue another option? Do you want to give either one of those or both an opportunity to put something together? Or do you want to just simply make a decision on what level of benefit you want to provide to the PFCA under the Provident policy?
Now, if I may, the fire department's asked us to go to 400,000. So I think if you reach out to Provident, or we already have the Provident price, reach out to Colonial, see what they can give that's comparable to that, because I mean, there seems to be a lot of, from the Colonial side, missing that the Provident policy's offering. So let's reach out to Colonial, let's see if they can get us something, and we can go from there.
We can,
That's my opinion for the fire departments.
I would say shop. Get as many, you know, if you can get 2 or 3 and kind of compare them, you know, apples to apples, it's not gonna hurt anything.
Yep, options are a good thing.
Okay.
So Mike, you said that only Colonial can provide the college tuition and the legal, is it all 3 of those things? Like, so no other insurance company PA can provide?
That is my understanding. The Colonial had, so there's, if you remember what the benefit is, there's a benefit that everybody that's a member is provided, where they get $5,000 a year per person in a savings account that can be used towards any person's education at any one of the private institutions in the country.
It's a good thing.
It's a fantastic benefit. And some of those people have like $30,000 in these accounts now that they can get, and you can give it to anybody. You don't have to give it doesn't have to be a child. You can give it to a neighbor's kid. My understanding is through the provider, through Jim Serqua and Paul Fisher, that they have the exclusive, that's their selling point. They got the exclusive right to provide that benefit through the college tuition program. So if you don't buy the product from them, you can't get it through someone else.
Right.
But there are other, so and on the other side of this, Provident is it's an insurance company that is, exclusively for firefighters and firefighting. So I'm sure there are other benefits on that side too, even if it's just the fact that they understand your industry very well.
But it sounds like you really can't get one, unless Colonial can provide everything Provident can provide. You cannot get it, all these benefits in one policy.
Oh, I think Colonial can provide all that.
Okay.
But in order to do that, you gotta leave Provident, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what I was,
Let's get some prices.
Let's find that out.
Yeah. we'll
okay.
get some- we'll
So
get
if
some
I could ask
prices.
to still keep it on the agenda for next week, if we have to table it, we have to table it, but.
Get some
It's an
prices.
agenda item.
Okay. Item number 9 is the 2023 through 2025, School District Police Department MOU. Under the Safe Schools Act that was enacted by Congress a few years ago, every school district must have a memorandum of understanding with every police department in which they're located. So fortunately for us in Plum, all the schools are located in the same jurisdiction. So we just have to have one MOU with the school district. The MOU identifies what are the investigative and response obligations of the police department versus the school district. This is, in my estimation, the fourth. It's usually a 2-year MOU. This is, I think, the fourth, or maybe the fifth now, I guess. So we started, when this first started a few years ago, we just kind of implemented a very, whatever the Federal Department of Justice recommended. About 3 years ago, Chief and the superintendent really put a lot of time into it. There was a lot of back and forth. It got a little touchy at times. But I think they finally worked this all out, and we're very comfortable with the MOU as it exists now. But you're certainly welcome to take a look at it if you have any recommendations or changes. The MOU has to be in place for the new school year, which it's like, was that July 1st? Right, July, is that when the school year starts, I guess? School year? School year. Is it June 1st? I don't know. But anyway, whatever it is.
Probably their fiscal year.
Yeah, it's their fiscal year, so it has to be in place. It's July 1st, okay. So the MOU has to be in place. The chief and I both recommend signing it as is. I think this is the same policy that's been in place for the last 2 years.
So we'll make that agenda.
Item number 10 is the Horizon Security Proposal for the borough parks. As you know, we've been working on upgrading a lot of our parks, putting a lot of effort and resources into upgrading the parks, putting a lot of new equipment in these places, and for security reasons, for both vandalism as well as for the safety of those people that are in the parks, we would like to install security cameras. We've had security cameras up at Larry Mills for about 15 years now. Those security cameras are sort of end of life, and it's old technology.
Do we have a cost?
We do have a cost. It's $24,000.
For all the parks?
This is just for Renton and Logan's Ferry. Larry Mills. We have a proposal from Horizon. Horizon is the vendor that does all of our cameras and AV stuff in this room. They're the ones that built that room for us. They are a licensed certified vendor for these cameras, and it's the same cameras that we have in here. It's all one system that can all be viewed right, from the police department downstairs. It's not, we're not dealing with multiple systems. The quote is right off of the CoStar state contracts. There's no bidding requirements for anything.
Question, do we have cameras at the library?
We do not have cameras at the library. There are cameras at the library. They're not part of our system yet.
Do we want to add
Yeah.
the library and the senior citizen center?
The long-term plan for ours is to have cameras at all of our facilities.
Good, good. Unfortunately, we need them nowadays.
You do.
I need to talk to you.
Okay, I'll make this agenda item. Is there more discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Speaking of parks, Renton Park Phase 3 bid award. The bid opening is this Wednesday. This is Phase 3 of the project. Phase 3 is the pickleball courts for Dave and for Mr. Seitz and Mr. Dern. So we will be opening the.
Don't say that. People are gonna take it lightly.
The bids will be opened on Wednesday. We'll put together the bid tab and upload it to the agenda packets as soon as we've vetted everything. And then we will have a recommendation and hopefully have vetted the low bidder for Monday night.
Okay, agenda item.
Mike, I think we had talked, I just wanted to give council a heads up on, our Public Works Department does
Yes,
a lot of work. And in order to make this project affordable, they're doing a lot of the site work, if not all the site work for this. So I had sent an email to Mike about this, but just to summarize what they're doing, they've already installed a storm line along the alley to clean up the existing stormwater problem. They've cut down the trees that were dying on the hillside in order to make way for a retaining wall that needs to be built, which they will be building to make the pickleball courts feasible. They're installing storm lines to collect the water along the retaining wall. They're trenching, installing conduit, pulling power for the new parking lot lights for the new parking lot. There's a new restroom included in this. They're going to pull power to the restroom. They're going to pull power for the new cameras that are going to be there. And they're going to be trenching, installing the sanitary line and the storm line over around the bathroom. So a lot of work that they're doing, and I just want to recognize them ahead of time for the hard work that they're going to do for this project.
And there's a significant savings associated with that, probably upwards of 6 figures, quite honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the retaining wall alone, we're saving tens of thousands of dollars for them to buy the brick and install it. I mean, we just couldn't afford it without them.
Thanks, Dave.
Item number 12 is a resolution for Huntington Bank authorized signatures. Huntington Bank is the investment advisor for our defined contribution plans. We have 2, one for the administrative staff, the management staff employees. We have a secondary defined contribution plan for the Public Works Department that we negotiated with the Public Works Department last contract. Huntington provides investment advice. So it's a money purchase plan. You can invest your money in mutual funds, the borough provided money pension contribution that we're provided. You can invest that money in the mutual funds as part of the plan. Huntington Bank provides investment advice for those people that want it. The investment advice is provided for free. Huntington Bank is paid by the plan provider, which is the principal on the back end. Because they are our advisors for the plan, we're required to have some documents on file. The current document on file, which indicates to them who's authorized to do what, has still references Dave Odom, and it references, oh my God, what was the woman's name? Denise Hersig as an authorized signer. I believe she was manager in the 90s.
Time to update that.
And it also has Maria still. And even though she's back working for us, she's not working in that capacity anymore. So the resolution that we're proposing is to identify those administrative staff members who would be authorized administrators of the plan. That would be myself, Jim Driano, Mike Whitico, and Susan Parrish. And our suggestion is, because it requires the borough to designate a trustee for the plan, and my recommendation, staff's recommendation, is that what we do as a matter of practice is the council committee finance chair should always be the trustee. That way it's just simple for us. Every 2 years, we can do a new resolution identifying who those people are as people change, and we know who the person is. The trustee will be the finance chair.
Agenda item.
Item number 13 is a resolution for the Greenways Trail Grant Program. This would not be a 2023 project, by the way. This would be 2024, 2025, most likely. We're requesting authorization to apply for a $250,000 grant from the state to add more pickleball courts. And so the lower fields at Larry Mills, the soccer fields, as you come up Fontana Drive on your right-hand side, the first fields you come to, they were never actually installed properly. And I can tell you, my daughter played soccer there, and they're pitched, like, when you have a significant advantage in the first half, and then you have a significant disadvantage in the second half. So they were just, you know, some guys from the community just got together with some earth moving equipment and put some fields in, and they did a great job. You know, God bless them for doing it. But you know, we need to. It's time to invest in the fields and make them proper fields. So we're applying for a grant to make them proper fields and to rearrange the top where the bocce court is there, and the not the bocce court, the volleyball. Thank you, and install some pickleball courts up there as well.
You gonna have a sand pit for the kids to play in still though?
That's the
They love
volleyball.
playing in that volleyball court.
Right now, engineering-wise, we're trying to keep the volleyball court where it is. So we're sort of playing around with the layout. It just hasn't been worked out yet.
I've never seen anybody play volleyball on it. I've seen tons of kids playing.
I've seen a few people play volleyball.
I've
but
seen
not
some
many.
cats in there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, agenda.
Okay, and then finally, the last item, the Plum Community Center, in your agenda packet is a request for improvement to borough facilities application. You know, as is your policy, that any one of the tenants in any one of the borough facilities wants to make improvements to that facility, they have to provide you with an application identifying the improvements that they want to make, and the cost associated with it. And especially since it's public property, we have to be careful. We're following all the bidding requirements and everything for it. So included in the packet is a request or a proposal from the community center to swap out some of the flooring, to repaint some of the rooms. This project is 100% funded, proposed to be 100% funded by this community center. I believe they're receiving 90% funding with a 10% match, I think. Is that correct?
We have 100% of the funding is from the county that we're gonna use.
Oh, okay. So this would just be something for council to approve. Staff doesn't see any, staff doesn't have any problem with any of the work that's proposed to be done, so.
Okay, agenda item.
Okay.
All right, good deal.
And then other than one executive session item, that is all I have.
Public comment, anybody have anything they'd like to say? Would you like to say? Sure.
I don't know which way to go, what I've been coming back for, am I allowed to talk on that?
On what?
On the illegal dumping back Forty, Fourth Road.
You can always talk about it.
Yeah, you can, yeah. Yeah, you can talk about it, anything you want, public comment, yeah.
By the way, you're gonna be the first person to use our new microphone on the podium.
It might not be on.
Yeah, I call it like a toothache, I keep coming back, I know, a little bit of homework here. These are pictures from my house. You know, I've given, I don't know how many of the ordinance I've copied. I've showed you, I don't know how many things that were done illegally and not being done. Oh, yeah, okay.
We'll share.
The first picture of that machine, you can Google that. That machine alone weighs between 19 and almost 24 tons. Now I call it a truck. Is this on?
There's a power button right on the front of it there. You just slide it up right where it's connected. Sorry. Right
Where your index finger is.
where your fingers are.
Nah, that's enough.
Maybe I want to do that.
There you go.
There you go. Give it a second.
Anyways, you can Google, that machine alone weighs between 19 and 20, almost 24 tons. Now, I called a truck driver. He said the thing that it's being hauled on is approximately 10 tons. The tractor that's hauling that, he said, he says it's approximately 10 tons. So we're pushing over 40 tons just on that one machine. See, I'm trying to explain to you guys on the tonnage that's come over Farneth and Browntown Road. Okay, I know Dave, the last meeting, asked me how old Farneth was. And it didn't hit me till I got home. It was like you were implementing the age. I was started talking about the cracks. on Farneth, and you made the comment about how old is it, I don't know, 10 years, but the tonnage, I'm trying to explain the tonnage. Now, I want to do one more thing, I don't want to bore you. When I worked 42 years, I retired with Norfolk Southern Railroad, I was a locomotive engineer, which on the side I brought many trains from East Palestine, which I know a lot was going on that. But the way I told you on the amount of the trucks have gone back that road, I did some multiplication, and I figure between, it's almost 14,000 tons gone back around town and farm. Now, I'm going to explain to get this perspective. A 100-car loaded coal train is 10,000 tons. So we're talking about approximately, and I'm not here to schmooze you guys, we're talking about approximately 1.5 miles of a loaded coal train going throughout, this is going on 4 years, 3.5 years, I don't know, going over Farneth and Browntown Road. And you can't tell me that has nothing to do with the cracks that's been, and the damage on Browntown Road. I'm trying to get you guys heads on the amount of tonnage, and most of them were illegal from a guy that don't live in a borough that's brought multiple tonnage from outside the borough onto our roads. Okay, and this is the third time, like I said, I feel bad coming back, but it's, I'm not, Skip, I've never met Skip before. I don't know Skip. He's not like my friend, but he's mentioned. It's like, you guys, am I complaining like a guy built a shed 6 inches too close to my property, or do I have legitimate complaint? That's what I don't know what I got to do. Now, here's one thing. I've given this out to I don't know how many guys. But one of the things that I underlined, I don't know if you guys looked at them or threw them away, used them for toilet paper. But here's one of the things. It says, the council of the borough of Plum Boro shall have the power to revoke any grading certificate and completion upon the recommendation of the administrator that the work covered by the permit, or that the retaining walls, cribbing, drainage, structures, fence, and other protective devices shown on the approved plans and specifications submitted for the permit have not been maintained in good order of repair. Now, I've given you guys copies, and I don't know if you're looking at them. I don't know what I got to do to let council see my position. Now, you see those pictures I gave you. The first picture was that. Did you see the second picture of the dust? Did you see the third picture of the mud? Now that mud, I don't know, when they did that thing, that was like peeing in a wind. That didn't do anything except make dust. Okay? So, like I said, I hate keeping coming back. I have a sick wife that I have to pay somebody to watch when I come here. Okay? And I'm not trying to make you guys cry. But what do I got to do to let you guys know on the damage on just this isn't, it's not right. It's not right according to the ordinance. It's not right to the people who live on the farm. It's not right for the people of Plum Boro. Who's going to pay for the repairs or the resurfacing of Browntown Road?
Well, didn't you, Mr. Milo, didn't you go look at that?
Yes, we gave a report to Dave on the inspection of the permit.
Yeah, I think the answer I gave you last time, so you were at the last 2 meetings, the agenda meeting and the council meeting.
I was told
Right, so when you came to the last council meeting, the public meeting, we indicated that we had received a report from the borough engineer. We had sent it to the homeowner saying, look, borough engineer was out, did an inspection. These are the things that need to be fixed on your grading permit, okay? So, that was not even 30 days ago that we sent that. So staff will follow up with the engineer and with the applicant on what's being done on the property. Okay, so I can address that. I can't address your issues either, about, tonnages on the roadways. We talked about whether there were studies done to establish those tonnages. We're looking at that right now, but, Bob, maybe you can speak to any studies that have been done,
I know for a fact when I first moved up there used to be, and I talked to a neighbor here, there used to be a sign. You see those pictures, like normally when it's 25 miles an hour, it's 8 times, but that, I don't know, that has to do, I don't know how they do that. But there was definitely an 8-ton weight limit on Browntown Road years ago. Where it went, I don't know.
So the picture you gave us is not a current picture?
Of the.
Of the 8 tons? Yeah.
That's not even from the borough. I just was trying to show, yeah.
Well, fast ones.
No, that's not here. Listen, I'm not trying to BS anybody. And I told you, I'm not here to get anybody in trouble. I'm just trying to show counsel on what is happening. I mean, I don't know who I can explain or how I can explain it.
Dave, what do we have to do? I know you said there's gonna be studies done, I mean, like, okay, we have weight limits on roads comparable to Browntown, correct?
No, we don't have any road, the borough is not weight limited any roads.
We don't have none.
PennDOT has weight limited some of PennDOT roads.
Well, you know what, I seen, Logan's Ferry Road has a 10-ton weight limit, Old Frankstown Road has a 10-ton, those are county roads. Old Frankstown I seen, because I did some riding around.
Those are state
has a
roads.
10.
They're state, but yeah, but they're not.
So I went
Yeah.
to some riding, I seen 3 of them today. I seen, Old Frankstown, Webster, or I think that's Logan's Ferry, and there's another one, I can't remember. But they were, I guess, county roads, they were all, but I rode around, I didn't see any Plum Boro at all.
Plum Boro has not weight limited any road, and it's worth noting for everybody's edification that simply weight limiting a road does not prevent you from taking the vehicle on that road. It just means you have to bond it.
Here's what the law says, if you have a weight limit on a road, because like I said, I've been doing a little bit, okay, if you have
I've been doing it too, I've been doing it 30 years
If you have a
myself.
weight limit on a road, you could like local deliveries, you could do stuff like that. But as far as what we're saying, as far as a contractor bringing, you know, I don't like to say it,
But-
10 to 40 trucks a day on it, no, that's not permitted.
So, but all this is academic because the road wasn't permitted, or wasn't weight limited, so it doesn't matter. He's not doing anything wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you that he's doing damage to the road, but he's not doing anything wrong by taking the vehicle on it because it wasn't. And you're right, it is damaging the road, it is destroying the road, just like any road would be damaged or destroyed by heavier equipment. But there's nothing for us there's nothing for us to go to that person and fine or cite him with. But I do agree with you that having that equipment on there is damaging that road prematurely.
Okay, and I agree with you, I never went to that where this guy's he's doing wrong, but he's not doing it illegally. Except for the 600 trucks that he did do illegally without a permit, okay? But what I'm saying, what could council do to protect not only Forest and Browntown, the other roads, because like I said the last time, this is an in for other contractors, because this guy went to the county, why can't 2 or 3 other big time contractors do the same? So my thing is, not so much the ordinance, because I proved to you that the ordinance has been not adhered to. I'm asking council what they could do to protect this for future contractors doing this. And I'm not only talking about Browntown, I'm talking about other roads, you know. As far as the ordinance, say he would do everything okay, he did everything, okay? So he did the ordinance, so now he's still bringing trucks and he's still doing damage to the roads. See what I'm saying? I'm asking council on what they could do to stop contractors like this do what they're doing. Because I agree with you, I never thought that the guy was doing anything illegal as far as the roads, even though the only thing he did illegal was did many trucks without a permit.
He did, so just also for clarification, he did start dumping and doing this before he got a permit. The staff caught him and cited him and unfortunately, we're in court right now with somebody who did this. We're in court of common pleas right now with a lawsuit over this for somebody that was dumping on a property, and it was on a much more highly trafficked road than this one. This is unfortunately a lot more common than you think. That especially in a more rural community like Plum, or at least Plum used to be, I guess, this happens quite a bit, and people will just start dumping, and we catch them, and we go after them after the fact. The problem with weight limiting, like we would have to weight limit so many, because there's so many places where they could get a permit from the county to dump, because the county required the ability to get a permit through the county for grading is not something we can prevent.
Right, that's what I'm saying, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And so
You're saying the county controls what can be done out here in our community?
the county controls what can be done with respect to that issue, yes.
Harry, that's what he did, see, after they.
I know what he did, but
You know
I'm
what
just
After he
saying.
got caught, it was a stop order, and I said to Dave, and I heard he went over you guys said, went to the county first instead of going to the borough first, when she's not here, I don't know, you know. So he went, I'm gonna say he did a loophole, whatever you wanna call it, but he made it legal. He made it illegal.
So we
I
have.
told you, that one machine, 40 tons in, 40 tons out, 40 plus. Don't tell me that Farneth is old. Farneth is.
Yeah, I don't know if that was his point. I think he was just asking that. I don't know that we can assume that that's what he meant by that. I think he was just questioning. The reason that he asked that kind of question from somebody that's been doing this, I've been doing this for 30 years, the reason that I would ask that question, he's been doing it just as long as I have. The reason that I would ask that question is because that will tell me how much damage it could be doing. Not that we shouldn't be concerned about it. But we do have a requirement for a grading permit. We issue a grading permit here, but the county is responsible for anything over an acre. The county has to, you have to get your permit. It's just, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Okay, I'm not.
Just this is the first time hearing it.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know, this is for, like I said, I want a conversation. So far, it's just like one or two guys that said something, and I feel like I'm thumping my head against the wall with.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all to your concerns. We share your concerns. I'm not saying your concerns are invalid. The bottom line is he dumped it legally. We caught him. He made it legal, and there's nothing he's doing now that is illegal. Now, we did send the engineer out to investigate, and he found some things that he was not doing that were not consistent, that he was not doing that he should have been doing according to his permit, and we've notified him of that. There's not a whole lot more authority we have to do to stop him from doing this.
Here's what I guess. You guys have power here, so there's something, I don't know what, there's something you can do to prevent this. There's something, you know, they made an ordinance, and that ordinance was, I think, 1985, 1886. They did a lot of work on this, okay? There's something, you guys have power to do some things. I don't know the loopholes, I don't know what you could do, but there's something you could do to prevent this. Who's gonna pay for the repairs for Brown Town? We are.
Yes.
We are. Because this guy's not doing it because he got a legal permit? See what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna pay for the repairs for all the roads where all the heavy equipment goes over, for all the other demolition contractors that we hear about. We have one, well, we're not in New Texas anymore, but we have a big heavy equipment demolition company right across from the old building. It's constantly moving excavators and heavy backhoes and front end loaders all throughout the borough because he does a lot of work in the borough. And all those things are doing damage to those roads. We have Stone & Company over off the Davison Road that is taking in multiple ton trucks in and out all day long, loaded with concrete and stone. And all of those things are doing damage to our roads. We can't just prevent commerce because they're going to do damage to the roads. It's the cost of doing business.
And it happens in every community, it's not unique to Plum.
Like, I'm not telling you you shouldn't be
No,
annoyed.
I respect it. It seems like you hear what I'm saying, but it's like, what can we do?
Well, I think too many people think, in Pennsylvania, no municipality, not the city of Pittsburgh, not the city of Philadelphia, not Walboro, and certainly not Plum Boro, can do anything that the Pennsylvania General Assembly has not expressly given us authorization to do. That's what a Commonwealth is. The state tells us what powers we have and we don't have. And simply put, we don't have the powers that you think we do, that everybody thinks we do. We do not have, if there's a code that we follow, it's the Pennsylvania Borough Code. It's about this big and it says, this is everything the Plum Borough and every borough in Pennsylvania can and cannot do. And we can only do what's in that book. And I'm telling you right now, after 30 years, there's nothing in that book that tells us we can do anything more than what we're already doing. I'm not telling you you have to like it, I'm not telling you if you think it's right, and we can talk about how we change that, but that change doesn't happen at this table.
Yeah, I think you have a much better option, like going to county council, going up the food chain a little bit more. It's extremely frustrating that local municipality doesn't have the kind of power to do something to really enforce that, but it's just, it is what it is. It's how the system's designed.
What's the chances of, he said he had to do a study, what's the chance he's doing a study on Brown Town? I mean, how much does that cost compared to redoing it?
Well, so doing a weight limit study on the road requires an engineered study to determine the stability of the road, and it's a very much involved process. But even then, there's criteria that have to be met, and if those criteria aren't met, you can't weight limit it anyway. And again, even though you can weight limit, we can still weight limit a road, and people can drive on that road if they bond it. Now, that's the money that goes into the repairs that you're talking about, that's them paying for the repairs. But you can't prevent them from,
I might point out the bonding amount.
Yeah, you said, last time.
It's like
Peanuts.
it's not,
Like
yeah,
$1,200
it's
a mile or something you said, is that?
Yeah, so-
something.
Yeah, so it's peanuts.
Yeah. Now, of course, you got other vehicles going up and down there. You got the garbage truck and
Yeah, well, like I
the
said,
fire department and
the
everything.
code for that, the code for weight limits that I read it says for local, in other words, it allows for local deliveries, like the garbage truck and the propane truck and everything. So, but the difference between that is, all that, I don't have to repeat myself, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what you're asking us to do. I'd be happy to talk with you. If you want to make an appointment, I'll sit down and talk with you all afternoon one day. I'll show you whatever you want to see. I'm happy to try and work through some of these issues, and if you can come up with something that we haven't thought of, I'm happy to bring this to the council.
Well,
Let
the
them
two things,
do.
like I said, one is revoke, here's a question too, he applied for a permit last year, does he have to keep applying? Now, he hasn't done it since last year. In other words, what I read in here, the permit is for a length of time.
Right, so remember, the permit started after the long pause, okay? So it's a 2-year permit, so he has to renew it. And we stay on top of those things for renewal. So as far as, you talk about revoking the permit, as we do with anyone, and we want to be consistent with how we address any grading permit, is that if he doesn't respond to the violations that the borough engineer has called out, we'll revoke the permit. But we're giving him time and trying to work with him to cure those. So we're close to getting, we're getting close to the 30-day mark. We'll reassess it with the engineer and try and find out what's going on from there.
Okay, here's a question, you might answer this. Is there what I read is the permit is for each project he's doing. But you're telling me when he applies for a permit, that's good for 2 years, whether he's going from getting dirt from Arnold or Holiday Park.
The permit is for the site, it's not for where the dirt's coming
I
from.
mean, time-wise.
2 years.
Oh, so it's 2 years and he could go anywhere and do that, okay, I didn't know that.
That's correct.
And you actually have a sitting member of the county council in Plum Boro named Michelle Jackus. So you can contact her.
Let me get a number if you guys.
Well, yeah.
County website.
County website, yeah.
And what's the name?
Michelle Chapman.
Michelle Chapman,
She
she's
sits,
in Plum.
she's.
Oh,
What's that last name again?
CHAPIS? Okay.
CHAPKIS.
And that's your sitting, and that she resides here in Plum. That's probably a good avenue to go towards, to see if maybe, the county is the one that he went to get the permit.
It's not actually the county council or county government, it's the Allegheny County Conservation District.
Which is essentially a contractor to DEP, to the state.
She can help you.
Yeah.
So, and I will tell you that, the code enforcement department, the community development department is always on top of these things, to the point that we are in a lawsuit right now because somebody was dumping on a property, never got a permit. We caught that person, we cited that person, they tried to sell the house, we would not issue an occupancy permit for that person because they dumped illegally, never got a permit, never even applied for it. And now we're being sued because that person is trying to sell the house and they can't sell the house because there's been no occupancy permit issued for it. So I can tell you that the staff does take these things very seriously. We're still involved in a lawsuit 2 years, 3 years later now because of their diligence with these kind of things. I think in this case, he was dumping illegally, they did catch him, they are monitoring it. Unfortunately, that really is the extent of what we can do. Again, I'll be happy to sit and talk with you about anything.
If I can get your number or something, I'll give you a call or whatever. Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. We are going to adjourn to executive session.
Okay. Everybody.